All right, we're now recording, so get this party started. So if you need to know what is due this week, is basically everything from the menu to the costing to the demographics to you name it. I want everything, all of that put together. And I would like to see that no later than Monday. All right, let me share my screen. All right. Again, easy, short day. So you can work on your project. Okie dokie. So just talking about payroll and let's see, labor and payroll. Okay, talk just a quick review. Standard operating procedures. Another name for those are SOPs, right? SOPs. Basically everybody in any job you have, in any position you have, you're going to have basically SOPs or standard operating procedures on whatever it is, like cleaning a grill to opening up your station to closing your station to prep to firing orders to closing, you name it. There are steps or what we call standard operating procedures that you need to follow to make sure that you are successful. It is complete. Whatever else that you know what to do, how to do it, all of that good stuff. Any questions on standard, basically any SOPs? Everybody good with what a SOP is and what it is? All right, let's talk about labor. Okay, restaurant labor is typically the highest cost for the of owning a restaurant. Basically, a restaurant commonly aims to have their labor around 25 to 35% of their gross excuse me, of their gross revenue. However, a full service white tablecloth restaurant will likely have a higher cost percentage because of the amount of service that they give, right? The more service that they have to give, the full service, kind of a more attentive and more skilled, excuse me, employees, the higher the cost is going to be. So how do you control the labor cost? Well, and there's no 100% correct way to do it, but you need to be able to manage your labor, and how you manage it is by on slow days, maybe sending some people home, maybe on, I just always run what I call lean. At most of your jobs, do y'all all kind of run a little bit shorthanded? Any of y'all? jobs ever kind of you feel like, oh, we could always have one more extra person, or we, and it's because of they would much rather push their employees a little bit harder and make them work a little bit longer and harder, instead of having to pay uh, for another employee. Pretty expensive, but who wants to read this one real quick while I get a glass of water? Heidi, do you mind reading this one?
Group your costs for better clarity. Dividing staff into groups shows you which positions cost the most. Assign front of the house staff, such as servers, hosts, and bartenders, to one group. Kitchen staff, such as cooks and dishwashers, are another natural group, as are management staff. Want me to keep reading, Chef?
Oh, did I? Yes, please. Oh, wait.
Restaurant.
Sorry.
You can also divide your staff by whether they're paid by hourly wage or salary.
Thank you. All right. So you want to divide front of the house, back of the house, and hourly or salary or whatever else. But it's one of those things of you want to make sure you understand. Like I wouldn't bring in my kitchen staff, or I'm sorry, I wouldn't bring in my front of the house staff if too early. So you need to stagger everybody and all of that. Do you want to read this one for me? Heidi? Do you mind reading this one?
Calculating labor as a percentage of sales can be useful, but determining staff productivity solely on the basis of labor as a percentage of sales doesn't give you the detail needed to identify areas for improvement. For example, let's say company policy is for labor as a percentage of sales to be 27% or less.
Thank you. All right. It's just, this is more of a statement. Ideal labor is typically made up of a third of all of your gross profit cost. Okay, so it's ideally labor is typically make up about a third of the cost of all, or I'm sorry, a third of all your gross profit costs. That's 30. So that means that every dollar you get in sales, 33 cents is to the labor. That's a lot of money, right? Or is that a lot of money? What do you think? What do y'all think? Is that a lot of money? Yes, no?
That's a lot of money, Chef.
That is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so that means you've got to be very careful with watching your labor cost. I mean, with 33 cents represents your total labor costs, okay, out of a dollar, that is a lot of money that you've got to be very careful and make sure that those people, because if it was a product or if it was something, you would make sure that everything is working correctly. You need to make sure that your employees are working correctly, where they're not wasting your money, because I mean that is a huge chunk of money out of a dollar that is going straight to labor. And that, I mean, just think of, that's only labor. I would love to have 33 cents to go for profit. I mean, that's per, dollar or whatever else. I mean, that 33 cents is a lot of money. So you got to be very careful with that. So let's see. It is easy to let labor costs get out of hand. Yeah. especially when you're, when you feel like, oh, for example, let's say, before COVID kind of happened, right around, let's say there was a big, I mean, I decided there was going to be a big concert, and then all of a sudden it started raining, and I had all this labor that I had hired, and now the concert's not going to happen. So I am now losing lots of money. So you can get into deep into debt if your labor and your sales aren't kind of balanced out, and that's why when my when it gets slow in the kitchen, I'm going to start cutting people, like sending people home, not like actually slicing people or whatever else, but I'm going to send people home, and I'm going to start kind of just sending people home because my sales is not going to balance out with my whatever my labor cost is. Um, largest, let's see, company. Good morning.
Good morning, Chef. Apologies.
Let's see more news. All right, someone read this for this slide for me.
What percentage of sales should be labor? The fancier your establishment is, the more staff you need. Counter service restaurants and food trucks only need a few employees, some of whom might even prepare food and serve customers. Upscale dining requires a large staff with specialized back of house cooks and chefs, and several front of house workers to serve guests and perform side work.
Yeah, I mean, who's been at a real fine dining establishment, right? Your water glass doesn't, go empty. You've got very attentive people. You have sommeliers. You have, all sorts of different individuals out there that have different job sets, and the more employees you have, the more money you're going to be spending. So you've just got to be very careful with that. Let's see. What percent of sales should, or what percentage of sales should labor be? Let's see. All right, someone read this one for me. And we're almost done.
A skilled cook can do better work than an unskilled cook, so you will need fewer of them. However, they may be more expensive to train and require higher wages, so you should take into account the details of your establishment, size, service, cooking techniques used, etc., in deciding whether to hire fewer skilled cooks or more unskilled cooks.
Thank you. So, for example, let's say, I mean, you've seen like already cut vegetables, right? Already diced up onions, already diced up celery or whatever else. I can buy all of that stuff already cut up. I can buy things already pre-made. Really kind of depends on, my clientele, right? What does my clientele want? What does my demographic want, right? I need to figure that out. And then if my demographic or my customers don't care if I buy pre-made or already pre-cut, that's going to raise my prices a little bit, but I'm not going to have to spend as much money on labor. Because I don't need as skilled of an employee. So it kind of varies. So you gotta be very careful with that. But it's up to your clientele what they want. But you can easily Oops. Do not overstaff. Has anybody ever had worked at a place that you were overstaffed? You're, just basically stepping all over each other. Everybody's just kind of, it's just way too many people around. But the one thing I would say is you just really need to be careful on having too much staff. Um, Look at your sales. What I would do is look at your sales to make sure that your sales can pay for or what how many reservations or whatever else, but make sure it kind of balances out. Because you never want to have too many staff and not enough work. You're just basically paying your staff to just sit around or stay on their phone or do whatever else. You're not getting a lot of work out of them, right? So you need to make sure you don't overstaff yourself. Reduce overtime, OT, and other paid overages. OT, guys. OT is one of those things where honestly you have to get, for me, you have to get permission to get overtime. If you get overtime, I'm going to be yelling and screaming or getting upset or whatever else, because that's a lot of money that I've got to pay for. That's time and a half, man. And time and a half, that means I gotta sell like 2 or 3 times the amount of food to cover that cost of what I'm paying you then. So, that's why most companies will bitch and moan and complain about you getting OT. But if the sales are, if you're like racking up all these awesome sales, well, then they don't have a problem with OT. But the issue is you got to have the sales to balance out that overtime. Does that make sense? So it's got to kind of balance out a little bit. Overtime is 40 hours or anything after 40 hours a week. So, and this kind of tells you how to calculate it to figure out your percentage and all of that, but I'll let you kind of look at that. To help reduce OT cost, make sure you have use more of your part-time or your temporary help or whatever else. Try to spread the love a little bit. Make sure that you have a great day. Let's see. First of all, OT is one of those things that I will tell my employees. I'll say you cannot. Only time you can get OT is whenever I tell you to. You can't really get overtime because it just throws off everything. I would much rather send people home, cut people early, whatever else, but just I am a stickler on not paying overtime unless there is something, my sales are really kicking to do that. But I have no problem with giving overtime. I don't like doing it if my sales are not, because then what happens is that throws off my all my percentages, because if I have any, as a manager or executive chef, or usually any leftover money that is left over at the end of the year is your bonus usually. Okay, so if there's any leftover money in like labor cost or labor or food cost, or if there's leftover money, or if I can reduce something, a lot of times is whatever's left over at the end of the year is your bonus. So that's why a lot of times, uh, and that's one of the reasons why the chefs manage that so closely is because of that reflects their bonus at the end of the year. So, you know, it it makes the chef or makes the person manage it a little bit more closely. And that's why you have a little more anal retentive people, you know, getting upset because they don't want you to do overtime because that'll throw off the labor cost or whatever else. If there's any extra at the end, it's usually someone's bonus or an extra piece of equipment or a new employee or whatever else, whatever you want to use that other money for. How to calculate labor cost percent. We're going to watch a couple of videos and then we'll be done for the day.
I want to know more about Charles Koch, your personal.
Did you know that the typical margins of a food and beverage restaurant is only 5 to 10%? Today we're going to be talking about how do you calculate your labor costs so that way you can have more profits in your pockets. Hey, it's Wilson here, serial entrepreneur and multiple seven-figure business owners. If you guys are into business, if you guys are into small business or wanting to build your own restaurant, make sure you guys subscribe for this channel because I'm going to be sharing a lot more of my experiences, what has worked, what has not worked, along with you in this whole journey. Make sure you guys subscribe. Do you want to know the difference between running a business that's going to run you to the ground, pulling your hair out and just stressing out left, right, and no tomorrow versus a restaurant that allows you to become a vehicle that gives you the freedom to travel, gives you the financial freedom to take care of the people you love? It all comes back down to how you manage and run your restaurant, and more specifically, understanding how your labor cost works, because it's not just as simple as understanding your hourly wage. You need to take everything into account, which is the reason why we're shooting this video for you today. So then that way you can understand everything that it entails with labor costs, calculate that and work it into your math. So then that way you can have a very successful restaurant that allows you to profit much more than 5 to 7%. So without further ado, let's dive into what labor cost is. Labor cost is much more than just the hourly wage that you pay your employee. It also includes the benefits, the incentives that you're paying, the bonuses, the payroll taxes, the remittance, the training costs, the uniforms, the meals, all the subsidies. At the end of the day, it is a huge chunk of expense if you do not, and if you're not aware of that. So it is our responsibility to make sure that we work this whole cost into the math, so then that way there are no hidden things that are pulling us behind. That's the reason why you need to understand your labor cost. So what is the goal of understanding your labor cost? It is to understand where we stand on the benchmark and where we stand across the industry. And by us understanding of all these different costs, we understand which levers to pull in order for us to be able to benefit from that, in order for us to be able to put more money into our pockets. And at the end of the day, with restaurant businesses running at 5 to 10% margins, the more money you save from labor costs, the more money you're going to be able to put into your profits and to put into your pocket. That's the goal of us understanding labor costs, is to understand the full picture. Too many people venture into the business world without understanding their numbers, and that is a big no-no. So now that we understand what is labor costs and the importance of labor costs, we're going to talk about how are you going to be able to calculate your labor costs. And there's two ways to this. First, labor costs as a function of sales. Second, labor costs as a function of your total cost. The first way to calculate labor costs is as a function of the revenue. As we stated, these are the different labor costs involved: wages, training, benefits, sick days, insurance, all these different things. I like to bundle them all up together because I don't want these to fall between the cracks as a miscellaneous item. in my books, because once it becomes a miscellaneous item, I don't know where to categorize it and I don't know which levers to pull. That's the reason why I put them all together as labor costs. Now that you understand the amount of money and the expenses that you put into labor, then you can divide that by the total revenue per year. Times that by 100, you get your percentage over the course of the whole year. So for as an example, our restaurant, we make $1 million in revenue before taxes, and our cost of all the different labors involved is $285,000. Divide that times 100, you get your percentage of labor as a function of your revenue, 28.5%. Now you may be thinking, why is this number important? This number is important because we always want to be able to lower this number. If you're standing at 35%, that is a very high labor number, and that is something that we can work on in terms of minimizing that. We need to make sure that we are at the benchmark. We're an industry norm, so then that way we know that our money is the most efficient, that our labor is the most efficient it can get. The second way of calculating labor cost is as a function of total operating costs. Now, what is total operating costs? They include the rent, the cost of goods sold, which is basically all the ingredients, food costs whatsoever, your marketing costs, all the miscellaneous costs to you to operate your restaurant. Something that is for you to know is that labor costs should be included in the total operating costs. And this is a mistake that a lot of people do, is that they don't include the labor cost. It is basically what it takes to operate your business, and they should all be included into the total operating cost. Okay? Now, as an example, how do you calculate that percentage? Well, divide the total labor cost by the total operating cost times 100 equals your percentage. As back to our same example that we have a revenue of $1 million for a restaurant over the course of the year. Out of the $1 million, $850,000 is our operating costs of running the whole restaurant. And out of the $850,000, $285,000 is our labor cost. Now you use this divided by the total operating cost times 100 equals your percentage that you've invested in labor cost. The importance, once again, of understanding your labor costs is that it acts as a benchmark for you to be able to pull levers. If without you understanding how much labor goes into as part of your as part of your total cost, you cannot pull these levers in order for you to profit more. Just imagine that you had an extra manager in here that's costing you $80,000. Because of you doing this math, you understand that, hey, percentage-wise too high, which is now you're going to be able to play detective and to find out where that redundancy is and to cut that extra cost, which in turn puts more money into your pocket. So there you go. How do you calculate labor costs? It is super important for us to understand how we could do our labor.
All right, is there any questions of what needs to get done so far for the project? If you have gotten it all done, then what I need you to do is compile all of that information, put it in however you want to present it, figure out how you want to present all that information, and either do it on a PowerPoint or whatever else you're going to present it to the class, and you're going to share your screen and you're going to do a presentation, a 5-minute presentation about your restaurant to the class next week. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Yes, chef.
Cool. Well then, with that being said, we're done for the day. Please work on your project. I'm here. I've gotten I got a few of them turned in yesterday, or at least 1 or 2 of them that were done and it looked amazing. So, please keep up the good work. Y'all are doing great. Only about a week left, less than a week left, because we're done. Our last day is Thursday, next Thursday. So hang in there. You're doing good. Just kind of keep plugging along. You've got just a little bit longer, and then you're done with this class. All right. Keep up the good work, guys. Y'all have a good day. I'm here. You call me, text me, email me, whatever. Now today I am bringing my daughter to 2 doctor's appointments. So starting, hold on, let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Starting at 1 o'clock to around 3 o'clock, I'm going to be not answering my phone or text. But after 3 o'clock, I will get back on or answer any text or anything. But I'm going to be with my daughter going to 2 doctor's appointments. So other than that, that's it. Y'all have a good day. Be safe. Be careful.
Thank you,
Have a
Chef. You
great-
too.
Hey, you have a great day.
Hey, Chef. Quick question.
Yes.
My costing, and you were saying that you thought one of my prices was a little high. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
one.
I have not looked at. I know you said you changed it. I did not look at it. Let me go look at it real quick.
Yeah, Chef.
Hold on a second. Cost. It's
With this new pricing, it's like very similar in cost.
it's just your olives.
I'm sorry?
It's your olives that are costing you the most.
I pulled the olives off the prices that are on that costing sheet, but I noticed
Yeah.
that a lot of the costing sheet prices are more expensive than if I went to HEB and bought them
Then
myself.
you can put it on. You can find
I
a
might
price at
Pull
HEB
that
if you
number, and
want.
that would change
But I
the.
think that it's $78.24, right? That's how much the total costs. But the
For
problem
15
is,
portions.
oh, this is for 15. Gotcha.
Gerald,
You know what?
I ended up going with 25 on the menu and then made the hot brown like the same price. So I have 2 items that are very similar in price, and then one lower expensive item, which was actually the baked mac and cheese. I don't know if you looked at my menu yet. I sent you that as well.
Yeah, I saw it.
I thought the pricing would work for my demographic.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I think just at the very, it just at the
It
very
used to be more
beginning
expensive.
that first it was like it was
like
a lot
$35.
more. Yeah. And I think this is a lot better.
Because I think it's like reasonable to charge $25 for like a couple sliders, especially because
Yeah.
if they pay $2 more, they get the fries as well.
Yeah.
Which I
No, I'm
costed
good
that
with
out.
that.
I'll make a profit.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm good with your cost.
Does I don't know if you looked at the menu design, but does the menu design like
the menu.
look
Hold on
pretty
a
like
second.
pleasing to the eye? I had a couple friends look at it and they liked it.
Hold on one second. Let me pull it up again. Hold on. Yeah, here, let me. I love it.
I tried to use 1920s slang to kind of tie in the theme to the menu
Yeah,
itself.
No, totally. I love I love it. And you know what I like is that the pricing kind of is your the size is a little smaller. I like that, and I like how you know, it kind of blends in a little bit, so people, you know, you don't see it as much. The only thing I would suggest is if you could try to move that. I think that's a 6. Is
Oh
that a
yeah, I
6?
see that. It kind of got
Maybe if
cut
you
off.
can move that 6, you know, maybe over a little bit or something, just so it's
I'll make the
not.
box a little bit bigger, and that'll like
Yeah,
fit it in.
yeah, but you know what? I'm real pleased with this. I like this. You did a good job.
I
And I
appreciate it,
like
Chef.
how and I like how you didn't put the dollar sign, because if you put the dollar sign, that really kind of spotlights, here's how much it is. So, and people, you know, tend to look at that price before they look at uh, the product. But I really like it. You did a great job. The only suggestion I would say is try to scoot that 6 over a little bit or move the box over. But other than that, I think you did an amazing job.
I appreciate it, Chef. I tried to take a lot of the stuff you went over in class and tie it into the menu.
Yeah, that's perfect. You did a perfect job. I really like it. That would be my only suggestion, and then figuring out how to put all of that information, you know, so you can kind of talk about your demographics, what your restaurant is, all of that in 5 minutes. Just kind of have some sort of presentation. Other than that, you're going to get 100 on your project.
Thank you, Chef.
Yeah, of course. Great job.
I hope you have a good rest of your day, Chef.
Hey, you too. And guys, if anybody's in here that wants to look at this menu, I think, and I'm still sharing it, but you know, I think you did a great job. Good job, Heidi.
Great job, Heidi.
Thank you, Chef and Alan.
Hey, Chef, just quick question for the discussion on the portal thing for the Wednesday. Are you going to open that up to where we can?
I thought I did, but I will look.
On a reply, or you know,
It's not okay. I'll try it again. I will look at it. Hold on.
No worries. And then very last thing. So
Yeah, of course.
bundle up all the deliverables into
Yes.
one file for you, because I just went back and cleaned it up, you know, to
Yes.
get through.
That
So
would.
and then send that to you, and then work on the presentation.
Yeah, and then that's it. And then I mean, you're one of mine that got done. So I mean, you did a great job as well.
No worries.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll work on trying to get that discussion open again. Or open.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Have a great day.
Hey, you too. Anybody else need anything before I close down the class? All right, guys, rock and roll. Y'all have a great day. See y'all tomorrow morning.